What's going on, everybody? Arel Moodie here. I am so pumped to talk about the OCO bunker. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what in the world is an OCO bunker? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we're able to do that, we have to start any serious presentation with a game. So that's right, we're going to play a game. This is how the game is going to work. I am going to reveal behind this big blue box a series of numbers, okay? So I need you to stay with me and I need you to actually participate because the whole presentation that we're doing is predicated on you participating here. So can you agree to participate? Wonderful, okay? I need you with me. This is gonna be awesome. So when I remove this blue box, there are gonna be a whole bunch of numbers everywhere. All I want you to do is with your finger, I just want you to point to each number in sequential order, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 40, if you can get to 40, okay? I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I'll keep time so you don't have to worry. I'm gonna remove this and I want you to see how many numbers you can get to, okay? So here we go. Again, remember, you just need to point to each number. Don't just look at all of them and say, they're all there, I'm done. No, I want you to actually participate because this is gonna reveal something that is absolutely magnificent. So we're gonna do a couple of rounds. Let's do the first round. Here we go. On your mark, 30 seconds, sequential order. Here we go. You're gonna count the numbers in sequential order. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. 30 seconds. Try it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time. Okay. Now, how many numbers did you get? If you could, if there's someone next to you, go ahead and tell them how many numbers you got. If you're by yourself, you are a wolf pack of one for this presentation for some reason. Just let yourself know what was the number that you got. What was the number you're able to get yourself up to? Feel free to let them know now. Okay? Okay. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the exact same numbers that I just shared with you, okay? So you have that number in your head of what you just did, okay? All I'm going to do different is I'm going to give you 30 seconds to come up with a game plan on how to get to a higher number. That's it. So it's the exact same set of numbers. The first time I just kind of threw you out there. The second time, I want you to take some time to get a game plan. So I want you to look at the numbers, come up with a strategy, then I'll give you 30 seconds and I want you to try to beat your previous number. That's your only goal, is try to beat your previous number, okay? So whatever number you got, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds and then we're gonna start. Here we go. So 30 seconds starts now. Come up with a strategy on how you want to attack it. Don't actually count now, just come up with a strategy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now that you have your strategy, I want you to attack this for a second time. And your goal is with a little bit of strategy to see if you can beat your previous number where you just went at it, okay? 30 seconds, your mark, get set, go. You can do it, try to get to a higher number. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. How did you do? Did you do better? Do me a favor, just nod your head if you did better, okay? Yes? You did? Okay. Anyone do the same? You got to the exact same number? Any of you? Did anyone actually go down? It's okay if you did. It's okay if you did. Anyone go down? Okay. So here's what I want you to catch. Typically, when someone looks at something like this, they go, oh, I get what was happening. They were saying the importance of planning. Yeah, that's what this was about. When you do good planning, you get good results. That's actually not what this is about, because there's a deeper layer to this. Now, I'm curious, is there anyone in the room that saw the pattern? Did anyone see? Those numbers were not random numbers. They were not put there randomly. There's actually a very specific pattern that once you see the pattern, I think you won't be able to unsee it. So let me show it to you. This is what it looks like. This is what the pattern looks like. I want you to see that the numbers are actually not in random order. They're in columns. Okay, so the numbers are not centered perfectly in the columns, but I want you to see those gray vertical lines are showing that all the numbers are in columns. And each number does a box formation where it jumps 2 columns. So you find one number, it jumps 2 columns to the other number. You see the other number, and then it jumps 2 columns, and it follows this kind of 2-column jump sequence. Okay, so I want you to see this. I want you to realize that it's not random. There's a pattern. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds, okay? There's 40 numbers altogether. I want to see how close you can get to 40. Once you see this pattern, you can actually use it so that where others might see a random set of numbers, you now realize there's a column and there's way these numbers move, okay? So I'm going to bring up the form one more time. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I want you to try to jump to as many numbers as you can in sequential order, okay? Let's see if you can beat your previous 2 goes, okay? I'll give you a couple more seconds to notice the pattern, see it. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, try to get it, 30 seconds. Keep going. You got this. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Okay. Now, did you get more numbers than the previous 2? Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah, of course, right? Why? Because you were able to see the pattern, right? It makes perfect sense. Now, if someone were to just walk into the room and see these numbers, and then you were in a competition with them to who can get the most numbers, the odds are very high you would win. Why? Because you can see this pattern that others can't see. This is my belief, and this is what we're going to discover today together. There is a pattern to how the world works. Some people can see these patterns, especially social patterns. I've spent my entire career studying the most important minds, successful thinkers. I was able to go from someone who grew up on welfare in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, to being one of the first people in my family to go to college and graduate, to building $1 million business, to truly, truly loving an incredible life. I have a beautiful wife, 2 children. And I don't say that because I think I'm special in any way. I'm not. I was able to discover these patterns on how humans think, on how we socially interact with each other. And once you discover them, you can use them for good. My goal with our short time together today is to help you uncover some of these patterns that are existing within your organization so that you can use them to have more fun, even in this wild year that we've had. To connect more deeply, not just with the people that you serve, which is incredible, but with the people next to you, the people you work with. And what I promise you is once you know this, you won't be able to unknow it. So it starts with this idea of a bunker. Now, if you've ever been, well, hopefully you've never been in a war, but if you've ever heard of a war, there's a bunker. And if you've not heard of it, imagine there's a battlefield and there's this side over here, and these are the bad guys, and these are the good guys, and you're on the good guy side, and you're trying to take over this piece of land. You'll actually travel into this bunker. Now, missiles and bullets and all these wild things can be firing overhead, but as long as you're in this bunker, you're safe, okay? Now, you know that in that bunker, the people next to you, those people are on your team. They are on your side. They are in your bunker. Everyone on that other side, that's where the enemy is. This bunker mentality is so important because what you'll find is that in life, it doesn't really matter. It's not about what stands in front of you. It's about who stands beside you. You can have the most difficult situation in the world, but if you've got the good people in your life, almost everything is manageable. I mean, think about it. Would you rather work a decent job alone, or would you rather work a crappy job? Can I say that? Is that a technical term? Hopefully I can say that. Would you rather work a crappy job, but with people you love? I remember when I was working fast food. It was like a grueling job. And when I was doing it, it was just like hour after hour, flipping burgers, all that stuff. But I had a great group of coworkers. So even though we didn't necessarily love the work we were doing, we loved the people. I mean, think about your own life, okay? Would you rather go to a movie, right? Assuming, we can all go to movies one day soon. But would you rather go to a movie with a friend or someone you love, or would you rather go by yourself? Now look, most people would rather go with a friend. It's a weird thing if you think about it. A movie is literally an environment where you're not supposed to talk to each other. You're supposed to be quiet. Put your phone away. Don't talk to the person next to you. Now listen, if you're someone who every now and again wants to go to a movie by yourself, go on, do you. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But what I'm saying is typically when people go to movies, they go with someone. Why? Because being with someone is just more beautiful than being by yourself. Think about why would anyone think about this, a sporting event game, like a basketball game. Why do people spend so much money on tickets to go to a live game, to pay exorbitant fees for popcorn and sodas that cost like 10 times more than what it's available in the store? Because there's something about being a part of that community, being a part of people when they're cheering for their team together, that's unlike anything else. Even though you can be in your comfortable, climate-controlled, comfortable couch in your own home, there's something about being there in person that's just wildly different. Now listen, each and every single one of you, you are part of this bunker with OCO. And I encourage you to get into the OCO bunker. Here's what I mean by that. Every year that you spend with OCO contributes to the success that this organization has, right? It's not just about the clients that you serve, and you do incredible work to help people who need it the most, who care, but you truly make a difference in the lives of the people. And the longer you have those relationships, the deeper that they go. I would argue that OCO, your values for safety, it's not just about, a safe place for the people you serve. It's about creating that safety amongst one another. I encourage you to realize that in OCO, the man, the woman, the person on your left or your right, they're in your bunker. I want you to imagine that there's this war going on in the world. And there is. There's an ideological challenge that's happening. It's not a war against people. It's a war against ideas. There's so much strife and disagreement and divisiveness that the work that you do, it's essential. It brings people together. When you look at those people next to you, I want you to understand that these aren't just people helping you do your job. These are the people that make the honor of trustworthiness come to life, that you can connect with one another and share confidential ideas and know they got your back. And they should know they have yours. I mean, wouldn't you love to know that you're in an environment where everyone there has your back and they know you've got theirs? Isn't that the dream? Listen, collaboration is so important, right? You are the expert in your own life. So the more you can share and connect with the people next to you, the greater you can succeed. This makes sense. But here's the thing. Sometimes we can't think our way into right action, but we can act our way into right thinking. We know that we're a team here at OCO of empowerment, right? You encourage people to be in charge of their future, to be in charge of your future, to care about other people. You know that this is a guiding principle for the organization and for yourself. Sometimes, though, thinking is not enough. It's the actions that we take. I want you to think about this. Have you ever had someone in your life that said, hey, I said I love you 15 years ago. If anything changes, I'll let you know. So they've never said I love you ever again. You got someone in your life like that? Like, we need to hear these acts of love, these words sometimes, to know that that feeling is there. And sometimes people say, well, you know I care about you. Why do I have to say it? Because it's important. I can tell you there is one thing, and I've read some really interesting studies, that one of the single most powerful ways to build community and to truly build an environment where everyone feels appreciated is simply by letting others know that they are appreciated. I know that might sound so simple, but I want you to think about how commonly it's practiced. I want you to think about your life and think about who are the people in your life that tell you how much they appreciate you versus who are the people in your life who never tell you how much they appreciate you. Is it a safe bet that the people who tell you that they appreciate you, you have a closer, deeper relationship with than the people who don't? There's a correlation there. I want you to get that this showing of appreciation doesn't have to be always buying someone dinner or buying someone cake on their birthday or anything that might feel obligatory like that. It might be as simple as thinking about someone on your team who you really care about, taking out your phone and sending them a text and saying, hey, John, I just want to let you know I saw the way you handled this situation and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I just really appreciate that you're on the team. Thank you. Send. That could be it. That could be it. Things like that are more powerful in showing appreciation and building that community than many other things. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I would like for us to start acting as if we're in this bunker. Because listen, this has been a tough year. You guys have been doing amazing. You've been taking care of each other. I know that there was a fear at one point that when this whole COVID craziness happened and all this COVID things happened, that there was a fear that people would actually not show up to work. But you know what you all did? You showed up. You cared. You said, you know what? We're essential. What we do matters. We're going to show up even more. That's action. That's beautiful. That's so needed. We need people modeling OCO out there. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about someone in your organization you appreciate. Someone on your team that you can send a text to right now. Or maybe an email. Or maybe a Facebook or LinkedIn message. Doesn't matter. But I want you to think about something they did that you truly appreciate. And I'm going to take a little break here. I'm going to let you send that. And just say, hey, person's name, I appreciate you because you did this. Or I noticed this. And I just want to say thank you. And just send it. No other things. Not like, hey, now could you help me move my stuff? I'm moving next week, right? Don't ask me anything. Just send something from a place of love. And I challenge you to do this every day. And if you send one message to someone new every day, you'll be incredibly impressed with the type of life you have. So I want you to start with right now. And when we come back from this, we're going to take a little break because I want you to have the time to actually send this message. I'm going to let you know about what do we socially need the most and how it ties to this idea of the bunker. So go ahead, take some time, think about who you want to send a message to, send that message, and I'll see you back here in a little bit. Okay, I'm assuming you actually sent the message, okay? Did you send the message? Because the thinking about sending the message is not nearly as powerful as actually sending the message. Okay, I know you sent it. I believe in you, okay? If you haven't for some weird reason, please go ahead and do so. Okay, please, please, please do so. Because the people that you serve, they see the best side of you. But here's what's fascinating. Have you ever noticed how easy it is for someone to show respect and love and care to a complete stranger, but then treat their family or their coworkers with not nearly the same type of respect? Now, I'm not saying you do that, okay? I want to be clear. I'm not saying you do it, but have you ever observed it? Have you ever seen others do it? It's a really fascinating phenomenon. What I realize is that there's something that we socially need the most. There's something that actually is important, and it's two sides of one coin. The first one may make sense to you, the second one may not, but you'll get why it does, okay? The first thing that we need the most socially is community. That makes sense. If you want to take our most hardened criminals and give them the worst type of punishment, what kind of punishment do? We put them in solitary confinement. There's all of this research that shows that babies, literally, if they don't get physically touched, they can die. It's really sad. So community is super important. And I want you to think about this OCO bunker. This is your community. These are people who get you. I mean, how many people get you? I mean, have you ever had conversations with people and you're just like, I feel like no one gets me, but it all makes sense up here. These are the people who get you. This is your team. These are the people who will do what they need to do for you. So I want you to make sure that you realize that these are your teammates. This is your community. But here's the thing. We also need something else. You need adversaries. And I know that sounds weird, right? Because I know you are all about inclusion and honoring the basic need for people to be included. And you're saying, Arel, wait a minute. We don't want the idea of adversaries. We're inclusive, okay? However, we as humans, we need it. We need this idea of what's called restrain and release. I mean, think about this for a second. If anyone likes sports, what's one of the greatest plays in basketball? Well, it's that play where there's a defender on the offensive opponent. He does like a crossover, leaves the defender, right? Everyone goes wild. The person dribbles the ball, jumps up. Another defender blocks the dunk, and they go to block it, but he goes a little bit higher and dunks on him. Crowd goes wild. Why? It's because when that defense is on the player, there's a restraint. And then when you can break free from that restraint, it's freeing. It's one of the best feelings in the world. You think about football, catch the ball, running down play, get hit by a bunch of defenders, but you spin off all the defenders, stay on your feet, running for a touchdown, you get restrained and you break free, and then there's a release. That adversary, that restraint is actually needed so that the joy can be there. Because if I give you a football and there's no one in front of you, and you just kind of walk into the end zone, it's not exciting, right? But if all of these people are trying to tackle you and you break free from them and boom, you get into the end zone, it's one of the most exciting plays because of this idea of an adversary. Here's where we mess up. We need adversaries. We need something to fight against so that we can achieve things. I mean, every great movie, there has to be a good guy and a bad guy. But who are the adversaries? Think about this. I really want you to catch this. This is the big idea that I've been building up to that I cannot wait to share with you. So I want you to stay with me. Everyone stay focused. Because I know sometimes when you're doing videos, it's easy to get distracted. Some of you might be thinking about clipping your toenails or washing your dishes. I know how the mind goes. It goes in wild places. Just bring it back because this is really important, okay? So I got everybody. If you're with me, give yourself a high five because you can't high five people next to you because of the whole COVID thing. So just give yourself some love. Do it. Thank you. Give yourself some love. I know it's weird, but you know what? Let's be weird together in this OCO bunker. Okay. This is the idea I want to share with you. What destroys our bunker safety? So if we know when we're in the bunker, my teammates, they've got my back, I've got their back. What destroys it? This is what destroys it. When we confuse teammates for adversaries. When we confuse our teammates for adversaries. Now, I've seen this in so many organizations I've worked with. And you know what? There's hundreds of you that work for this great organization. There's a very, very good chance that that's happened. It's not a shot or there's not anything to be upset about. It's just reality. That oftentimes we confuse the people who are on our team as our adversaries. And sometimes you see this in families where husbands and wives treat each other really poorly, or children become the competition for a parent. And we've seen things like that unfortunately it confuses us. So who really should be the adversary? It's ideas, not people. There's things that I love that says, don't hate poor people, hate poverty. Don't hate the racist, hate racism. Because when we can change the way we look at an idea, we don't villainize any individual. And if we don't villainize an individual, we can impact them. We can connect with them. We can see them as a human. I'll give you a little exercise, okay? Now, for some of you, you are amazing. You love everyone next to you. You wouldn't hurt a fly. Good on you. There are some of you that have some team members that maybe ruffles your feathers a little bit. I'll give you a little exercise to do, okay? I want you to imagine that this person, if there's anyone on your team, now they might not be, but if there is, this is for you. And if you ever have a difficulty with someone, this is actually really powerful. I want you to imagine that person as an infant, as a baby, right? Newborn, holding them in your arms. You're looking at them. And you're realizing that this baby wasn't born with hate. This baby wasn't born with malice or anger toward you. Unfortunately, a lot of these things are learned. And I want you to imagine that person, who they are at their core, that beautiful essence, that's still in them. And I'd like for you to think for a moment about how beautiful it is to have a group of people who really appreciate you. Your leadership at OCO, they see that beautiful light in you. They may not have seen you as a newborn infant, but they see that light, that energy that's in you, and they appreciate you. They care about you. Look, this is a virtual event. OCO's never done a virtual event like this before, right? This is all brand new terrain. But they care enough to figure out how to make it happen because they care about you. And they appreciate you. And one of the most beautiful ways to keep this bunker going is to share that appreciation. So, what I'd like for you to do is understand what causes that confusion. So if we look at our teammate as adversaries, the individual, not the idea, the individual, what causes this confusion? It's not what you think. Because if you can understand this, it can release a lot of challenges that might be there. But most importantly, it can bring together this incredible bond that's already there within this entire team. You have an incredible team structure here. And I am so, I know that your organization is so much better than so many organizations that I've worked with because of the power that you have and the minds and the types of people that you are. And I want to make sure that there's nothing that breaks down that armor. So, what is the biggest cause of this confusion? It's how we use language. Believe it or not, something as simple as gossip is the single fastest way to destroy connections and relationships with people. Here's a very simple rubric I encourage you to take with you from this moment forward, how you communicate with your team. If you would not talk about someone the way you're about to talk about them, if they were in the room with you, then don't say it at all. Let me say it again, okay? Here's the easiest way to understand the power of language. If you were in the room with me and I was talking to someone else and I wouldn't tell them something about you, if you were in the room, that means I shouldn't be saying it in the first place. If the only way I'd feel comfortable talking about another person is to the person next to me, if that person was not in the room, there's a good chance that language is destructive and may move people to getting outside the bunker. I want you to move to be in the bunker. I want you to make your mantra, we are on the same team. And teammates communicate with each other. Teammates appreciate each other. Here's what I want you to do. It's a little fun game I play. Okay, a little fun game I play. I call it phone book roulette. Okay, this is how phone book roulette works. I want people who I care about, who are on my team, to know I care about them. We earlier talked about showing appreciation. That is one of the most single powerful ways to increase connection. And I won't even go into the science of it. By the way, this is really cool. There's a thing in your brain called dopamine, which is what you get for, like, you know, when you gamble or check social media or drink or something like that. There's these dopamine hits that feel good in the moment, but they're fleeting. So that's why we need so much more of them. But there's something called oxytocin, which is a beautiful hormone that actually creates long-term happiness, long-term joy. And the way that we release that long-term happiness doesn't come from scrolling on social media or gambling or drinking. That creates a different chemical. Oxytocin is created through connection. One of the best ways to create that connection is through appreciation. One of the best ways to appreciate people is to tell them, to share with them. And not just attaboys on the back or attagirls on the back, but writing them a quick post-it note and leaving it on your computer just to say, hey, I just want to let you know I appreciate you. Leave that post-it note if you can. If you can't see someone because of the physical touch restrictions, send them a text. It goes a really long way. You'll be surprised at how little people get. And you want to get, listen, I'll give you this. Check in on your strong friends. Huh? How many of you, people only come to you when they need something, but no one ever checks on you because you're the strong friend? You're the strong coworker. Oh, this person's never hurt. This person's never. That person needs to be checked on. Look at someone in your leadership team. Look at someone you care about who you think they've got everything figured out. Check in on them. Let them know you care. Because just because they're strong doesn't mean they don't need to be checked on. So play a little game called phone book roulette. Here's how it works. It's very simple. You just randomly choose someone in your phone book. Like, open up your phone, scroll up, scroll down, stop. And just send that person a simple message letting them know you appreciate them and give them a reason why. That's it. You'll be surprised that this little action, done once or twice a week, if you do it every day, that's ideal. But if you do it once or twice a week, can build an incredible set of experiences. Now, let me be clear as I come to the end of the time that I get to share with you here. This world is not easy right now. You know, sometimes when the wind blows, people, they fall over. And other people, when the wind blows, they build windmills. It's all in how you kind of decide to interact with the hard. You know, it's a very difficult world. It's an unpredictable world. But knowing that you have people on your team, I want you to get this. You have people on your team. Do you know how many people are lonely out there who've got no one? You've got this beautiful team, but you got to stay in the bunker. I don't want you to ever put someone who's beside you out of the bunker and turn them into an adversary. Keep them in the bunker. Because there's three kinds of people you can be. And I'll leave you with this. I want you to imagine that there's a big pot of water and it's boiling. And that difficult pot of water represents the unpredictable, the difficultness of life that we're all experiencing. The first kind of person is the egg. Now, if I took a raw egg and I placed it in that pot of boiling water and I let it sit there, what would eventually happen to the egg? Hard boiled, of course. This represents the person who starts out strong, like the egg shell, strong, right? But when they get put into a difficult situation like this here, they harden on the inside. They become cynical. They become angry. They become bitter. They harden their soul and how they treat others. They don't smile anymore. That's the egg. Now, the second kind of person is the carrot. You take that same difficult situation, this same 2020, you take that egg and you take the carrot and you put it into that boiling water. You let it sit there for a long enough time. What happens? Carrot turns to mush. Right? This represents the person who in difficult times, they lose themselves. They forget who they really are. They don't raise their hand anymore to share ideas. They don't do things with initiative. They don't speak up. They don't try to go after goals or try to get raises or do things at a deep level because they've given up on themselves. They've turned to mush. And there's a third person that you can all choose to be. And that is a coffee bean. Now, what happens if you take a coffee bean and you put it into that same pot of boiling water? It creates coffee. It adds energy to it. The difficultness was needed to release that energy, that beautiful fragrance, that wonderful elixir that is coffee. Now here's what's interesting. You can even take a coffee bean and grind it up, smash it up by life, and you put it into that hot water, and what do you get? You get better coffee. My friends, I ask that you be the bean. Right now, we have experienced collectively an incredibly difficult time. And we can either choose to be in the bunker and realize that people next to us care about us and appreciate us. And when we're in that bunker, we can either choose to be the egg that hardens, the carrot that turns to mush, or the coffee bean that adds energy, that adds life, that is the person that acts their way into a new thinking by texting people just to let them know they care, by appreciating them, by taking a difficult person and remembering that they have this beautiful essence like when they were an infant that's still inside of them. It's getting them on your team. It's not fighting people. It's fighting ideas and structures together as a team. Because when you do that, my friends, you are releasing the most beautiful source and energy that is in this world. And that is a team working together towards a goal. I am so grateful that you exist. I grew up in an environment where I needed services like you. My life was changed because of the incredible workers who helped my family when we were in tough times so that I could build myself up and have the family and the life that I have now. You make that possible for so many people. And you do that because of the incredible team that you have. So I want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the work that you do. Encourage you to get into the OCO bunker and stay there. And if you ever start fighting or getting angry, just know you're out the bunker. You got to get back in it. And please stay in touch with me. I'm the only Arel Moodie in the world, so it's actually very easy to find me if you'd like to stay in touch. I'd love to hear what you thought about this presentation. It would mean the world to me. I know we're in this virtual world. I wish I could be there in person with you, but I can't. But if you could please contact me on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Send me an email, arel@arelmoodie.com. Just let me know what you thought. It would mean the world to me. Because you mean the world to people just like me. And you mean the world to each other. Because you've created an incredible bunker at OCO. Thank you so much for what you do. And continue to stay in the bunker. Remember the mantra. We're on the same team. Thank you for letting me be part of your team today.